Having a security system set up at your home is a great safety measure. Unfortunately, it won't completely deter criminals from trespassing on your property. These videos show that when thieves and intruders target a home, they often wear masks to hide their identity from possible cameras. Not only does this make it more difficult for police to track down the suspects, it also makes the entire concept of a home invasion even more terrifying. Number 5. When you think about someone stealing your property, you likely don't consider the possibility that they could steal your security equipment of all things. However, this appalling footage shows a suspect doing exactly that. To make matters even worse, he's sporting an unsettling black mask to hide his face, which makes him look even more like a humanoid being. This footage was from April of 2019 and was shared by a homeowner in Elk Grove. It shows the activity of a thief late one night. According to reports, the suspect walked around the back of the house, cut the breaker for the garage, disabling its power along with the security camera in place. He did this so the camera couldn't capture him unscrewing and stealing it. With a screwdriver in hand and his terrifying black mask still in place, he makes a huge mistake by approaching the Ring doorbell camera on the front porch. He went to work unscrewing and snatching that item as well, but Ring systems offer a live camera feed and will automatically save footage when it's turned off or disconnected. Therefore, the suspect probably thought that by taking the camera he was covering his tracks, but the homeowner woke up to this unsettling footage anyway. They were shocked not only to find the scary black-masked suspect, but also to see how quiet and sneaky he was. Apparently, the owner's dogs didn't even bark or sense his presence at all, something that was quite unusual for them. This means that he was so quiet and stealthy that he could have easily snuck into the home and caused even more harm. Luckily, in this mass trespasser's case, that's not what happened. As mentioned before, the Ring app automatically saved the footage from the night, and the homeowners were able to take it to police and have it submitted for their report, as well as have it aired on local news broadcasts to warn others in the area of the risk that a black-masked man could be lurking around looking for his next target. Similarly, this event encouraged more and more people to invest in the Ring doorbell system, seeing as it didn't serve just as a handy tool, but also as a form of protection and surveillance. Considering that the thief also cut the breaker, members of the community were urged to find solutions to this problem, such as locked boxes or additional camera setups for their breakers. Unfortunately, thanks to the mask, the suspect was never apprehended, meaning that he could still be out there looking for his next victim. Number 4. With most masked criminals, you're lucky to see a Halloween-style mask or even a ski mask covering their faces. However, sometimes people get creative with how they want to conceal their identity. In August of 2019, this footage went viral on the web, not only for its terrifying nature, but the peculiar aspect of the criminal's chosen disguise. The suspect decided to wear a hollowed-out old TV on his head for his late-night adventures. In an even more strange series of events, this trespasser wasn't actually on anyone's property to steal anything. Instead, he was leaving weird gifts. While sporting his weird mask, he bends down at the porch to leave behind an old TV that he carried up himself. He does this so very calmly and even looks toward the camera, as far as we can tell. The following morning, homeowners noticed their Ring doorbell cameras and other security systems had alerted their smartphones with notifications of a possible trespasser. Upon watching the footage, they were obviously disturbed and confused to say the least. Eventually, word got around, and as it turns out, many residents of the same neighborhood found footage of the same TV-headed man, leaving behind random electronics. The matter was taken to police and eventually made its way to local news broadcast stations. But thanks to the TV set on his shoulders, the suspect was never located or apprehended. Furthermore, it was a weird case for police because the trespasser didn't harm or steal anything. He just left behind TVs. As for why he did it, the internet covers various theories. Perhaps the TVs were left as targets for thieves or human traffickers to return later that night. Or possibly this person was just trying to get rid of his old TVs without paying the cost of having them removed. Of course, there are more out-of-pocket theories, relating the TV man to other dimensions or work of the devil. The most popular and plausible theory so far is that the suspect simply wanted to freak people out by doing something weird. If that is the case, he got his wish and he went viral online doing so. It was later discovered that this man did the same thing to several neighborhoods and surrounding areas, with a short period of time in between each drop-off, so others in the area are hoping that they aren't the next receivers of these weird gifts. They also pray that the TV man doesn't change up his game by acting out violently or turning into a thief. Although the TV situation is still unsettling, it's pretty harmless, and we would like to see it stay that way or completely stop in general. Number 3. This video was captured in early 2018 by a security camera at someone's home. It shows the most popular form of a masked character, Michael Myers, stalking a home. The homeowner, Brian Goldman, who uploaded this footage, offered a brief explanation that this masked figure had been trying to get into his home every night for the last few months, painting the suspect as a dangerous, determined criminal with a goal in mind. The clip is only about 50 seconds long, and the first 10 seconds of it are just the empty front yard and porch of Brian's home late at night. The entire neighborhood seems quiet, calm, and peaceful, but things quickly change when a figure in the upper right distance is seen strolling into frame. Thanks to the camera quality and the dark night, the figure looks like a solid shadow at first, with no definition at all. But as he comes closer into view, you can start to notice some of the details of his appearance. At first, it seems like he has a misshapen or deformed head and face, until you realize that he's actually wearing a mask and is decked out in the entire Mike Myers Halloween costume. He also seems to be carrying something in his hand, which we can assume is a knife. However, it's impossible to determine if the knife is real or just a prop that's part of the costume. Either way, the presence of a weapon is clearly unsettling. He charges toward the front door, with purpose in his step. He goes right for the doorknob, turning and pulling hard. The door is obviously locked, which seems to anger the suspect, as he stomps his feet and turns around to walk toward the back of the house. He comes sprinting back just a few seconds later and tries the door again. The following actions that he performs are confusing because he simply begins a pattern of trying to force the door open before running off and quickly returning to do it all over again. Some theorize that he had some tools laid out nearby and was running back and forth between the tools trying to pry the door open. Of course, no one knows if that's true, and it can be argued that he doesn't seem to be using any tools at all and only fiddles with the door. He never makes his way, but eventually flees the scene. Brian was completely shocked and upset when he found this footage on his Nest camera the next day. It's unclear if he reported this to police or not, but he did share the footage online, which could serve as a stark warning to others in the neighborhood, or those that know him personally. Number 2. This footage is more horrifying than some of the others because it does in fact feature an intruder that was able to break into a home and enter it. Thankfully, the homeowners had a trusty guard dog that was well trained and ready to protect his home that scared off the suspect. The footage comes from the Ring doorbell camera installed at the home. Apparently, the app failed to alert the homeowners of the visitor at their door, but it did save the footage so that they could review it the following day to see exactly who made their dog flip out. The suspect casually walks up to the front door of the home, tries the front door, and for unknown reasons, it pops open with ease. At this point, the criminal is probably thinking he's going to have an easy target where he can get in and out quietly in a matter of minutes. Well, he does manage to get out quickly, but it certainly wasn't quietly. As soon as he steps foot inside the home, the loud echoing of barks of a dog can be heard throughout the house. What happened between the dog and the suspect while inside the home is unknown. However, from the suspect exiting and fleeing as quickly as he could just a few seconds later, when the door bursts open and away from the property, we can assume that the loyal guard dog wasn't looking to play fetch. Thanks to man's best friend, this home avoided a robbery and possibly much worse, depending on the suspect's intentions. Number 1. This criminal was clearly determined to make his way into this Connecticut family's home. Apparently, he had tried to break into the home once before, but was unsuccessful, and decided that he would come back over the course of several nights to try to bust in the front door. He attempted his break-in at least 3 times as far as the camera captured, but police believe that this wasn't his first attempt at the same home. Instead, it was just the first time footage was recorded. The first Ring video shows the intruder wearing a white cloth mask across the bottom of his face, exposing only his eyes glowing in the camera's lens. He tries quietly to turn the doorknob and make an entrance a number of times, but fails. Finally, he walks toward the side of the house, where he can still be seen lingering for a moment, possibly trying a nearby window of the house before he flees the scene entirely. A day or two later, on the second night the footage was captured, the suspect tries the door again. It seems at this time he's either putting in more effort or he's brought some sort of tool to help him pick the lock. He continuously stares at the street and adjacent homes, looking out for any witness. Once again, he fails to open the door and leaves. No one in the family was harmed, and there have been no updates since the footage was shared by various sources, so we can hope and assume that the intruder moved on. Sadly, this footage wasn't enough to help identify the suspect, and he's likely still out there somewhere. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this narration, maybe consider checking out my personal channel at youtube.com/ty_knots. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to click that like button, subscribe, and click the notification bell to keep up to date with all of our future uploads.